The right to resist methods of disobedience. First is the Gandhian methods of disobedience. So here Gandhi believed that the government can inflict, means impose injustice on the people only if they cooperate with it. Tyranny of the government can thrive. Thrive means flourish, prosper, only because people acquiesce into it. Acquiesce means permit, allow into it. Therefore, the people are equally to be blamed for the unjust and tyrannical government. It is the right and duty of the people to fight against injustice. But while championing the people's right to combat injustice, Gandhi categorically rejected the violence as a means to resist unjust authority. Like Leo Tolstoy and Henry David Thoreau. He advocated the non-violent resistance as found this method for superior to method of violent protest. Means here the Gandhi tells that if unjust laws are imposed on us, then we should always follow peaceful means. We should never use the violent ways. To him, justice could be searched only through the non-violent and truth. Therefore, the twin concepts of ahimsa and satyagraha become the founding stones of his non-corporation and civil disobedience movement. Disobedience to the unjust laws of a tyrannical government must be rendered in a civilized manner. He urged the people to understand and accept the absolute moral value of ahimsa as a principle of social and political action. Satyagraha was both a moral principle and an operative weapon to combat the unjust laws. The weapon of satyagraha could be adopted only on certain conditions. It must be remembered that satyagraha is only for the unjust cause. In non-violence ways, there are various forms like hartal, boycott, strikes, picketing, non-corporation movement and civil disobedience movement. These are all the non-violence ways. It can be manifest itself in pleas, fast and prayers for the individual purificatory purposes. The twin moral ideals of ahimsa and satyagraha were used effectively by Gandhi in the non-corporation movement and civil disobedience movement. So here in this lesson only we are going to see the introduction of the Gandhi, that how the Gandhi tells us that we should always follow the peaceful ways when the unjust laws are implemented on us. In ideology lesson, the Gandhian ideology we are going to study in detail. So for example, the non-corporation movement of 1920 meant a non-violent refusal to cooperate with the agents of British government. It included the surrender of titles and office, resignation from the seats in local bodies, boycott of a foreign goods administration, and the court's withdrawal of students from the government aided education institutions. Means here non-corporation means to not to cooperate with the government. On the positive side, it included self-reliance and the Swadeshi movement. Non-corporation movement ended in a glory violence when an infuriated mob of satyagrahis burned alive 21 policemen in Chauri Chaura village in UP. Gandhi immediately suspended the movement. Means this movement was stopped when the infuriated mob of satyagrahis burned alive 21 policemen in Chauri Chaura. First is the non-corporation movement and second is the civil disobedience. So civil disobedience movement was launched in March 1930 to break the unjust laws, salt laws in Dandi. It became famous as a Dandi March. The movement met with merciless repression by the government. It was revived between the 1932 to 1934 and was swiftly suppressed by the government with a brute force. Gandhi's non-violent method of resistance became widely popular all over the world after the Second World War. The aim of these moral instruments of disobedience or a resistance was to bring about a change of a heart of the administration, to make it conscious of its unjust laws and actions. The method did not intend to disturb social order and not to overthrow the government by the revolution. So here first we have seen Gandhian methods of disobedience. Next is the revolutionary methods. So first we should know that what is revolution. Revolution as a method of a protest and dissent or a resistance to the authority has a long history. Revolution takes place when the legitimacy and the moral adequacy of the state are totally in a question. Robert Dahl defines revolution as a collective and ordinarily a violent action by which the people reject the existing authority as well as the established social standards and prepare to attack and destroy them. Its aim is to bring about total and a profound change in existing system. Now here examples are given that the French Revolution of 1789 can be described as a mother of all revolutions. The 20th century has swept many revolutions. The most notable among them are the Russian and the Chinese. Revolutions are evoked against the unjust, tyrannical, and the oppressive political in which the people go through the experiences of increasing reprivation, harassment, and fortune. Means when unjust laws are implemented on the people, then revolutions take place. And since the end of Second World War, the World War was witnessed severe revolutions, rebellions, coups, and the civil wars aimed at overthrowing extant political concerns. Many of these violent overthrows have taken the place in the Asian, African, and Latin American states.